The Get Down is brought to you by Digital Music Pool. Digital Music Pool is the ultimate record pool for professional DJs looking for the hottest tracks and exclusive hits updated daily in an easy-to-use platform. You can find exclusive edits from myself, Cream, Adam B., Andrew Marks, Angelo the Kid, Armin Averu, Chumpian, Dan FX, Castra, Pat C, and Samus J only on DMP. And we're giving you a chance to try their service for just $9.99 for the first month. All you have to do is click the link in the show notes or on the Get Down or Cream Instagram pages, create an account, and enter the promo code CREAM at checkout for your discounted month. DMP is my go-to record pool for new and exclusive music to play in my sets. So become a member for just $9.99 for the first month with the code CREAM and check it out for yourself. Click the link in the show notes or on the Get Down or Cream Instagram pages to sign up now. You will not be disappointed. If you love listening to the Get Down, you will love the video version of our show on YouTube even more. With all new audio and video upgrades, we've taken the show to the next level. On YouTube, you get to see our facial expressions, hand gestures, and real passion we have for this industry and for helping you grow your DJ business. Click the link in the show notes or on the Get Down Instagram page to watch the podcast now or search Get Down DJs on YouTube. We would greatly appreciate if you subscribe to our channel, like, and comment any questions you might have that we could bring up on the show. This episode, we sit down with our friend and current EDMA Mash Up of the Year award winner, DJ producer Angelo the Kid. Angelo talks about his recent journey into making music production his main focus, taking higher-end gigs only, and an upcoming move to North Carolina to help build the new Trio Nightclub. We also dive into what makes Angelo the Kid brand so strong and how you can start building a powerful brand of your own. We originally planned on having 2 guests this episode, but decided to break it down into 2 separate episodes. So stay tuned for part 2 next week. Let's get into this episode of The Get Down with Angelo the Kid. All right, what's up, guys? Welcome to the 113th episode of The Get Down, presented by Digital Music Pool. My name is Cream.
Gary W. here.
We have a very unique setup today. We have a guest, Angelo the Kid, with us. What up, Ange?
What's going on? How we doing? This is like the fourth time, probably.
You know, just a friend of the show at this point.
Friend of the show.
Not even a guest, just a friend of the show.
So we're going to have Angelo on first, and then we're also going to connect with Parari. So this is going to be like a split episode, which I don't know if we've ever done before with 2 guests, have we?
We've done some choppy episodes, but I think this is the first one in this format. Definitely.
The last time it was the 50th episode, and you had like I think 5 different guests maybe on that one time. Remember?
Yeah, that one we did do that way. And then the 100th was definitely just a compilation of a bunch. So we just like messing around with different formats over here.
There's no rhyme or reason. As long as we're putting out episodes, right?
Yeah,
that's it.
Definitely.
So I think let's get into kind of where you're at since the last time we talked, because I think a lot of things have changed for you across the board. So kind of let's get into a little bit on your DJ bookings first, because you've definitely taken a little bit of a step back. You've become way more selective and more high end. So talk a little bit about that and the reasoning behind it.
Yeah, I mean, I think I probably started taking less back, I want to say, in the new year for sure, and got it being super selective. It all definitely happened because I want to just get into music more, take that next step, do a lot more. I mean, listen, the gigs in Jersey or at home or wherever, they're awesome. They're so much fun. I just think, I want to take that next step. I look at a lot of guys that I want to be like, and see how they got there and kind of just like follow those steps and it's all a process and kind of see where I'm going with that, So I think that's definitely the big thing is music for sure.
So is that where you're spending more of your time?
Yeah, I was just going to ask the same thing.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, even on the weekends, if I'm off, maybe I'll go out one night or something, go see someone, a DJ in New York that I haven't seen in a while, or even in Jersey, show love to those people. Because I suck. I can't just fucking stay home all the time. It's hard for me. I gotta go out at least a little bit. But most of the time it's music, and just kind of figuring out, a little bit more social media stuff and trying to do different routes as far as with social media for sure.
I'm laughing because Graham, you and I are like, I don't want to go anywhere. that's the big difference. That's that age difference, right? Like you can't stay home when you're younger and you're hungry and you're trying to, make a real name for yourself. And then like you get a little older and you've been in the game for so long and it's just like, geez, like it's just like real, like Graham and I were talking about it. Getting down to Miami was even a challenge. It's like, all right, like gotta motivate yourself to get there. Because it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work at the end of the day. And then when you get there, Kareem, you and I, we got there and we're revitalized and re-energized and
yeah,
it's a lot of fun. But yeah, it's kind of funny to hear you say that. I can't stay home. Like, oh yeah, do not drag me out of the house.
Andrew, tell me about like where his Saturday turned out. I'm not gonna say what happened, but like he's like, I ruined my Sunday. Like Saturday we were out late.
It's horrible because like if I go out on a Saturday, like like I just went out for, it was like my buddy's sister's birthday on Saturday, but next thing you know, I'm sneaking out the back door, going to this spot to see a DJ. Go all of a sudden, I'm in New York till 4 or 5 a.m. It's so funny. So I try and limit those days for sure. On the weekend, I'll probably do maybe once a weekend or not even go.
Right.
But definitely, it's nice sometimes being home, working on music on a Friday. Just turning off your phone. Doing whatever you got to do and just putting 100% focus. Because then you're like, when you're done with it and that night, you're like, oh my God, this is like, I got something, I got something done, So
that's the move, right? Relax at home on Friday because like the parties aren't as good. They're usually, they're slower in crowd. The DJs aren't as good. I think the top tier DJs all play 100% on Saturday night. Mm-hmm. So Saturday's the time to go hard, and you take Sunday off. You got to take Sunday off. It happens.
Yeah, sure.
You don't want to ruin the family time though, as us Italians out here. You don't want to
do Sunday dinner.
Yeah, don't mess that up. Mom
you can't be too hungover to be able to eat, macaroni and meatballs and whatever else you're gonna do. Chicken cutlets.
Yesterday was Palm Sunday too, so I was struggling too, and we had the whole family over. We made it work though.
Someone else, Solano, has been kind of taking a similar route as you, where I'll hit him up on the way to a gig and we'll be talking. And if you guys don't know Solano or don't follow Solano, you should definitely go check him out. He's been pumping music. Yeah. And because he's taken a step back from some of the local DJ gigs and really only focusing on the big stuff. And like literally on a Friday, I'll call him. I was driving to AC and he's like, I'm working on a remix. I'm gonna send it to you. And he sent me like multiple versions over the course of my trip to Atlantic City that I car tested for him.
That's great.
He's hustling. He's crushing it right now. And I think also the one thing that I've realized, I'm not making as much money right now. So I'm like, I want to, like, knowing that you don't have anything to rely on the weekend kind of makes it like you have this bigger picture now. You know what you're chasing for. It makes you go a little bit harder than you were before when you were making money,
Speaking of going out, what are you hearing out there right now? Like what, Kareem and I aren't out as much as, you're having a little more free time in this first quarter. Like, what are you hearing out there? What stylistically is going on in the
I
DJ
think
world?
As far as open format for sure, which is the most interesting thing, it's so different than what it was a year ago. It's insane. I think the open format now is definitely more mashup EDM, mashup tech house. It's super sing-along-y. Even if you go to these big clubs, when I go see Rick play or Stoon or any of the, the local NYC guys, it's definitely a new open format. And it's a lot. I mean, it's like perfect, exactly what I like right now too. So it's definitely, I think that's a big change I've seen in the last year is the open format changing a lot, and especially in these big premier clubs, especially in New York, Jersey.
It was kind of interesting to hear 4B and then hear all of the pop samples that were in his set that night. And I mean, a big testament to a bunch of the Get Down DJs because he played a bunch of Get Down DJs remixes and mashups and whatnot. But that's why when I heard him, I'm like, this is interesting. I wonder if this is, obviously we go play, I go play Downtown Social or Hair of the Dog, and it's like, you're banging people over the head with high energy sing along music. And I'm like, well, is this what's going on everywhere else? And I guess that is what the case is.
It's so funny because I saw him a week before at Lavo. I went to go see him before Miami, and like, it was kind of similar. It's his style, but super open format, his style, which was really awesome to see. It was definitely more of a club set compared to Miami as well. So
Okay.
I always like seeing those like bigger artist club sets because you really see who can actually DJ.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, your DJ instincts will kick in if you're an artist and maybe you're going and playing a smaller local show in New York or whatever city, right? And it's like you do have to kind of go back to this is going to work because when I was an open format DJ, like this shit worked, and you could like pull from that experience.
I saw a vet DJ last year at what's the Wednesday party that Mikey goes to for Miami Music Week?
Marquee?
No, the Wednesday
Miami.
party in Miami for Miami Music Week.
Spinning sessions?
I don't know if spinning was Thursday
Or mix mash.
We were there together last year, right? Or
right.
I think that was spinning. Yeah.
I forget what DJ it was, but like you could tell that like the energy kind of lacked a little bit. And then it was a DJ that I knew because he'd been around the block for a long time. And his like instinct kicked in and he just like went to like this almost like open format high energy set and like revitalized the crowd. And I was like, well, that was not, I could tell. We were standing there watching. I'm like, that was not his intention because he started out somewhere else in like melodic house and wound up in like sing-along EDM. And I was like, this was certainly not what he was trying to do. So yeah, you're right. It's kind of interesting to see DJs. That's always the argument, right? Like what comes first, the DJing or the production? And like how I feel like it could be a lot more difficult for a producer first to go out and DJ and try to readjust like that. Like, and you could tell like 4B's been around the block for a long time because he can adjust to rooms,
Right. Well, Gary, we were being those dick DJs on the side, listening to bigger artists and be like, well, I could tell this person was a producer first.
Right.
As someone who's DJ'd for, 10, 15, 20 years, like you just hear someone play and if they have that background as a DJ first or a producer first.
Yeah. So, Angelo, speaking of the music side of things, is that why your style has kind of changed? Have you noticed that your style has changed? Because Scream and I were talking about it.
I think, this whole year I think is going to be kind of big for me just to kind of find my style. I know we've talked about like my style changing as well. I definitely want to go more towards my brand with music. So a little bit more happier, fun, but still definitely make some harder stuff. I'm working on, I have one like a little bit more on the pop side that's finished. I'm working on another like future house, and then I'm making like a Brazilian bass track that's a little bit more harder. So, I'm just experiencing with different sounds, trying to, whatever. I just want everything to kind of be crisp and clean and as good as possible for me, and just keep learning on that side,
I feel like the happy pop stuff is kind of where you started.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, that's like, that was what hooked me at least.
When a lot of times when I go to make my edits, I kind of look for that side, and kind of those fun drops, those fun, happy drop stuffs. So, it's like interesting how it's kind of like a full circle. Like that's where I kind of started doing the edits. It was all that stuff and coming back into that. So,
yeah. And I think like a lot of, you built a big following with your mixes being that style, Yeah. So I think it's cool to see. And I think it's great that you are kind of creating music in all these different styles and like figuring out where you want to be. And I think that's part of the artist process, right? Like making music in a lot of different areas. You were making 75 BPM, like Melbourne Bounce. You were making tech house. Like it's cool to just dabble into all those different subgenres, and you're kind of figuring out where you really want to sit. And it's funny. It's like you're going home, like back to how you started.
It's great because every producer has to do it. Like even the most popular producers in the world, like Tiesto's gone from 140 BPM trance music to like 134, whatever kind of house you'd call it, that he was making like 07, 08. And he's just been all over the map. Like he's done everything. Like I get it. He's got a bunch of ghost producers and whatnot. But like it just goes to show you that even if you are a big name, you do have to maneuver throughout genres because you know what? It's what's going to sell. It's what people are going to listen to. It's what DJs are going to play in the club, whatever's the most popular, right? So being early in the game, yeah, sure, you need to create a sound, but it's good not to get married to one sound because you're going to have to easily be able to transition out of that when the popular style does change.
This the only way to have longevity is to be able to adapt. We always talk about adapt or die, right?
Right.
It's the same thing in producing music. You have to be able to adapt to what's popular, but also keeping your own sound and your own style. And I think that's really hard to do. And that's why we go down these runs of genres where everyone's making the same thing. I think we're in this like tech house. Everyone has the same formula at this point. And when that starts to happen, it always signals to me like something's going to change in the sound because everyone's doing it type thing.
I think with the like, I always go like I think about it because now like I'm playing a little bit more just like 2-hour sets, shorter sets, and just let me think like when I'm putting together music when I want it always comes down to like I end up putting together like a lot more bigger music. So and also like the 75 BPM stuff I'm prepping. So I'm like, okay, let me with my style, let me just start making some stuff a little bit everywhere. Definitely go a little bit bigger. Because I know I was making those tech house remixes for a while, and I still am here and there. But you know, I'm not really playing that style, especially with what I'm doing right now. So I'm like, okay, let me try and do something bigger that's going to be able to fit into my set.
Are you sitting in like 150 to 160 at all? Like not sitting in it, but are you dipping into that a bunch in your 2-hour sets?
Yeah, a lot.
Same. Dude, I've been ripping 75 BPM, 150 BPM.
I'll play Jersey Club now too, especially like that's getting huge. And then if it's kind of like perfect with like a little bit of like the Melbourne or the bouncy stuff.
Yeah.
I play a lot of like, and a lot of the stuff is like memes too. So like I have like I have the trumpet song. It's like the remix to Can Can, like the classic song. And that'll be like, okay, that'll probably be like an hour and 15, hour and a half into my set because I know like everyone's hammered by that time.
Right.
Mix that in with like, say you go from sicko mode to that, so you just mess with the crowd, you know. So yeah, I love that speed. It's so much fun. So much fun.
I found myself listening to my like classic trance playlist a lot, and whereas I tried to listen to it a year ago and it just sounded too damn fast, now it sounds just normal. You know, because it's all like 140 BPM, but now since people are playing, you know, 150, 160 stuff, I'm like, wow, this not only doesn't even seem too fast or weird, but it almost like sounds like slow at some points. Whereas a year ago, my ears just couldn't adjust to it.
Yeah. Gary and I were talking offline before this about venues that we book where, you know, the venue wants to focus on EDM and vocal house. And sure, we could do that, but like you have to change up the audience's ears in some way. And even if you're going to stay in that electro world, I think being a good DJ, you find ways to change the sound, give people a rest, keep people interested. And I think the best way to do that with the EDM stuff for sure is with the Jersey Club, with the Melbourne Bounce, like really punchy. And even now with the darker, you know, like 132 techno stuff that's getting popular, you have to do it. And I think that's part of being a good DJ is understanding that I'm going to be in front of this crowd for 4 hours. I can't just play 128.4 on the floor the whole time.
Yeah. It's kind of part of that new EDM open format I was saying a little bit, you know. It's not always just 128, you know. If you have to make you play like a trap mashup with a hip hop song too, if you want to stay in the EDM world, I think that's part of that new style of open format that's happening right now.
What an absolute interesting time to be an electronic dance DJ, you know, because you can, like you said, like you can put together a set and it be all different genres of dance music, you know, like you're saying, and you can get away with it even at the most basic places, even at like your local like bar that turns nightclub type spot. Like you can get away with it there because I feel like people are just way more educated on we've had this conversation a couple of times. So, you know, people are way more educated on all of these different genres. Not everybody's married to one. Like you used to be just a trance fan. You used to just be a house fan. You were just a tech house fan. And now people are just fans of dance music, period. So, you know, if you can go grab 5 to 10 of the most popular of each genre, you can get away with a really great set. You know, even like I said, even at your local place, it doesn't have to be a major nightclub. People are invested and involved in that stuff, you know, 100% all week long. So it's not like people can just go and consume that stuff at the club like they used to. Like you can consume all of it all day long. So it's just such an interesting time because to be open format doesn't mean you need to do rock music and you have to do hip hop. You could stick to just dance music per se. That's what we're going to put it under, right? I mean, or house music.
Yeah, all the subgenres.
Yeah.
So I want to transition back to Miami because we talked about it on the show previously. Last year when you were in Miami, you were walking around and like people recognize you as the TikTok DJ. Yeah. So I want to hear. So this year we were down in Miami. You won Best Mashup of the Year for the EDMA Awards. What was
Congrats
it? The DMX Parade.
The DMX, the
Party Up Into Parade. The Joe Corey one, right?
It was the Landis remix too. Landis remixed it. Cool. Yep.
Yeah, we just had Landis on the show. He was a great.
Yeah, he's
great
awesome.
guest. A great guest. But so what has changed from last year to this year, Miami? Did more people recognize you because of your music and not so much because of the TikTok stuff?
I think it was like definitely not really much of the TikTok stuff. I think a lot of the my edits and mashups kind of like. I also want to see like I want to also thank DMP because of that, because I think DMP got a much bigger I guess like artist wise. Like I didn't I remember we showed up to her. I'm like, they're like, oh yo, I ran into Loud Luxury, got to talk to them, and they're like. The first thing he said was like, I send them edits every month too, through DMs, and they respond. They're super cool. And he's like, oh, like I just played your edit in put our radio show. Keep sending us stuff. So happy that you're doing it. So like, I think the big thing that changed was definitely the edits and mashups to these bigger artists, and they're starting to play that. And I think the mashups and edits are kind of getting way more popular for bigger DJs too. It's crazy.
It's amazing how many of our friends are getting played weekly on big stages by people like Diplo and by people like you said, Loud Luxury. It's incredible, and it almost becomes difficult for the producer to be on top of all of the artists that are playing your stuff. Like maybe you wouldn't know that unless you ran into them at the pool. You run into Loud Luxury at the pool party. Now they're playing your stuff, so you can go check to see what they're playing and what's working for you for that specific artist.
When I was not exclusive on DMP and I was sending edits out to like all the pools and all kinds of people every week, every month I would go in and just like search the track title in Google, because you would get hits and it'd be like, oh, it was played on this radio show and this DJ on 1001 track lists. And it was like a cool way to go see who's playing your stuff. And then it was a great opportunity to go follow up and be like, yo, I saw you just played this. Here's my top 5 edits from this year, or ones that I think you might play. So what's your strategy as far as getting your music into those people's hands? Is it just through Instagram, or what's your strategy?
I think definitely Instagram. The way I usually do it is I'll like put a couple edits every month aside for, a lot of the larger artists. I probably have right now 5 to 6 artists built into that. And I'll start with Instagram. I'll see, hey, would you want me to send edits in here, or would you rather me email? They'll tell me. And then, every month I'll have that folder, and I keep every message personal. I don't really do like a BCC to these guys, because I want them, like you want them to just like remember you want to keep it personal with them, and just thank them for, supporting. And I say, hey, if you guys don't want any more, or you don't want me to send anymore, just please let me know. I'll stop sending. But most of the time, everyone that I send it to, they're all cool. They all love it. And I think it helps you. And it was the artist from that you guys interviewed in Miami on Mix Mash.
John Varela
puts the name to, I would like puts the face to the name, or to the edit, so I think that's like, it's huge when it comes to that, because then all these guys are going to remember you're Angelo the Kid. Oh shit. Thank you for sending everything. So I think that's kind of like my process when it comes to that stuff.
I think a lot of people. Sorry, Gary. A lot of people probably had the reaction to meeting you in Miami that Gary had to meeting Vandal on the track in Miami, which was amazing.
I was really thrown. I was thrown by. I didn't realize he was from Paris.
Yeah,
I was just like, it was just like a really interesting experience, because get to play your stuff every weekend. This is amazing, awesome to meet you. And then you get to put a face to the name. Like
that was a big takeaway from all the conversations we had in Miami, right? Was like that part of it. Like you create these online, like you're DMing Loud Luxury, then you get to run into them if you're not DMing them or reaching out to them, you're not going to probably be able to say what's up to them and have a conversation at the EDMA Awards,
Right. So as a producer, as somebody that produces mashups and whatnot and edits, and you're sending these out to artists that have originals, do you ever think about, okay, I don't know, for lack of a better, because we just said Loud Luxury, for lack of a better artist. I was like, okay, Loud Luxury's playing a bunch of Angelo the Kid tracks. Let me go grab like a Loud Luxury original and remix it. You ever think about doing that?
Yes, it's been in the back of my head for, the next thing that comes out or something. If there's something that definitely catches my interest.
Right.
But yes, that's like kind of like, I think that's like a great strategy as well. And you don't, whatever, you make it, you send it to them. Hey, I did this. I'm going to put it out on SoundCloud next week, blah, blah, blah. And just keep it at that, and I think that's huge too. And if it does really well, they're going to be like, oh my God. Yeah. I think, there's a couple of kids in the D-Rock Discord that did a remix for two friends, and they ended up taking it and making an official remix for them as well. So, I think that's an awesome strategy, especially if you already have if these guys already know you and you're already sending edits to them, so.
Yeah, you built that relationship, and why not take it a step further and try to like really solidify, a real working relationship to where, maybe you can go open for that person in X, Y, and Z.
It's really smart because,
city,
it's just furthering that personal connection. And it's like, as an artist, if you see a younger artist who's making good music or something, and they're going out of their way to make something specifically for you, that's how many people are actually doing that. That's going to set you apart above so many other people that are just blindly sending this music to Loud Luxury or whatever other artist. So you're taking that step to put the individual touch on, and then you're taking the next step to make it even more personal. And that's how you set yourself apart in this industry. It's not just yo, let me get a gig, or yo, check out my music. Like, that's not how it works. You're never going to be successful doing that.
Yeah.
Another thing I want to definitely do is, whenever I have a couple originals that I'm almost done with, is 4B said in another, in like a happy hour for a Ferrari, it was like, make an edit of your own original and send it to them. So it's more club friendly and more crowd friendly,
Yeah.
That's definitely something I'm going to definitely do when I'm finished with a couple.
Is that like an edit with a vocal, he's saying, or just a more like a club edit?
No, like with a vocal people know over your song or something. So
that's actually really smart too.
Yeah. Never even thought of that.
Yeah.
Actually, the one time I think your guys' original got put out, and then I forget which DJ it was, put some kind of pop vocal over it. And
we had an edit contest, which was great.
Right.
We got like 50 edits using our original track.
I don't think I always played the pop vocal one, obviously, because it just was more club friendly. So yeah, that's extremely smart. Definitely. All right, Kareem, you want to get into? Let's go get into a little brand with Angelo, because Angelo, you're really good with your brands.
Yeah, I think we always try to leave the people that listen and watch this show with a takeaway or something that they can go home and do. And I think you're really, really strong with marketing yourself and branding yourself and creating these really cool strategies to promote the things that you're doing. So give the audience maybe 2 or 3 things that you really focus on that they can do to help either create their brand or help transform their brand into something that's more attractive or more interesting for fans.
Definitely. I think when it comes to TikTok and stuff, especially for your brand, I would definitely just write down exactly what you would watch too on TikTok. What would make you stop and watch, and necessarily definitely get ideas from other DJs or other that are making content on TikTok and kind of put it in your own way. TikTok's funny. It's like you just throw it at the wall and see if it sticks. So I think if you're doing that consistency and then you find something that works, I think that's huge. Also with branding, I think it's also important to do all these different lanes. So Spotify playlists, then you can also get content from that and push it on Instagram and TikTok, whether that's how I do the rankings. SoundCloud mixes. My new thing I'm probably going to start in May is a radio show as well. You connect with other artists to get on the radio show. So I think it's important to have all these different lanes, grow your SoundCloud, with edits, mashups, or mixes. Like if you put out a mix a month, that's perfect. That's enough content for that. And I mean, Instagram has kind of been like the main thing I've been really growing, and it's been doing really well. I just tried different video reels and just different. I always try different ideas and just see what works and change it up. And I also with content, I wouldn't keep it the same a lot of times. Always try and change up how you're putting stuff out, because just people Like
Yeah, it gets boring.
It gets boring. It gets old, you know? So, I think that's definitely, that's how I've been kind of going about like branding and content.
This is incredible content, information, advice, because it's all free. It's mostly all free. Like if you're not doing this, like you're fucking up. You're being lazy. You don't deserve to get to the next level. You know, and you're thinking about 4 or 5 different platforms at the same time and how to kind of intermingle them, but also keep them separate and keep them fresh. It's really interesting, and it's why you're really good at that portion of this business. Not everybody can do that. Not everybody wants to dedicate the time to it. But if you don't want to dedicate the time to the content and social media portion of this business, get out of the business, right? Like, because you're not going to grow. You could remain the local DJ, that's fine, but you're not going to take that next step, you know, because it has become 65% of what we do, just to throw an arbitrary number out there. It's almost bigger than the DJing portion, for sure.
Even making music sometimes, like it's could be.
You
bigger
can make the music, right? You know? You can make the music, but like if you're not putting it in the right places and you're not promoting it the right way, it's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So, you know, this is all free stuff. Utilize it.
I think people think it's like, oh, it's easy. This person just made a TikTok and they blew up and now they have this career. But all the artists that you see on TikTok that are doing really well, they're not just putting out TikToks. They're doing like 20 other things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're only seeing the success, but it's because of all the other things. They're growing on SoundCloud. They're making original music. They're connecting with artists. They're making mashups. Like their Spotify playlist is at 100K. Like all those things add up to creating this brand and creating fans. And people only see the tip of the iceberg, right? It's that little small success that people see, but you don't see the mountain of work that it takes to get to that point. Yeah. And it's a little overwhelming, I think, for people that are trying to get started. So let me follow up the question with how do you structure your month, let's say, to put out all this content? Because it can be really overwhelming to feel like you have to be on all these platforms and doing all these things. So how do you simplify it?
I mean, I would just come up with a plan for each page or each social media, you know, especially with the main two, I would say TikTok and Instagram. They're two completely different platforms. Some content is going to work on both platforms, but honestly, not all the time. You know, you have to kind of write everything down. That's what I've been doing. Just writing exactly what I want to succeed for this month. What do I want to do different from last month on each page? So I think that's definitely big. I know like the main thing that I've been trying to do is like, you know, I've obviously known for DJing rankings, which I'm going to always keep doing, but I want to do some more personal stuff on Instagram. I want to show who I am and stuff. And I think people love that. And I enjoy doing that. You know, I want people to know who I am as far as the DJ or how I go about my day, how I make edits and stuff. So like, that's kind of a goal. I would just, you know, see how you did go through the past month, see everything that you've done and see what you can change or see what you can do new or see what you can get rid of. So.
Yeah, I think that's great advice. Having that plan is so important. I think the other thing is like something that's been helpful for me is focusing on one thing for the week. Yeah. So especially for content, it's like spend one day with the overall strategy, but then each week focus on one thing. So this week is my Spotify playlist, right? All right, I need to go in and download new music, put my playlist together, update the tracks, and then I need to come up with a plan for, all right, I'm going to make 3 reels and TikToks around this Spotify playlist. What are those going to be? Shoot them. Yeah. What days are they coming out? And then the next week, move on to the next thing. All right, maybe my mix show is the focus for this week. And then maybe my original music's the focus for the third week. And like, I think that's made it a lot easier. Because I think that overwhelm and that like getting over starting is really the hardest thing. Because once you're going, you know? And you're seeing success and it motivates you to keep going.
I think that's important. Like if you, for social media, do something different every week. Try and, you know, like you said, Spotify playlist. And then, you know, social media, you can definitely change try and do something different every week. But then, you know, like you're always working on music also in the background. So, you know, as long as you have your times planned out, like when you're working on each thing, it'll definitely be a little bit more structured.
It's awesome. Is there anything else you want to talk about or anything we didn't touch on today? Anything you want to promote?
No, that was, I mean, pretty solid. I mean, Charlotte, do you want to talk about too? Or
we're leaving that up to you.
No, yeah, I would love to talk about that.
Man, a siren, air horn, hit all the major breaking news.
You know what? Ferrari yelled at us last time he was on the show for not having the boo 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 boo.
Yeah, we need a soundboard for you guys.
We really do. We're doing terrible. But go ahead. Let's talk about Charlotte a little bit.
I mean, the big thing is I'm moving out to Charlotte, mid-April, beginning of May, to Trio, where I usually play, Trio in Charleston. They're opening up another club in Charlotte. They're bringing me out to be the resident and director of entertainment for mostly local DJs. And yeah, super excited for that. It's definitely a big change. I need definitely a little switch up from Jersey, and there's a lot of stuff that's going into it. So I'm excited.
We've seen a lot of our local talent move out of the area and into different parts of the world. And we've seen them grow exponentially and quite quickly when doing so. So I'm kind of excited to see if you follow that same path, because, there's like 4 or 5 different DJ/producers that come to mind that move to all different places, whether it be Vegas or California or Colombia, and blew up in their own regard. And whether that was not gigging as much and focusing more on brand and production or whatever it might be, I'm really interested to see what the location change brings for you.
Thank you, man. I'm excited. We'll see. We'll definitely see what happens. It's gonna be cool. So
I think there's big opportunity you're going to be able to create new fans. I think being in Trio, and we know that Eric brings through some of the best artists around. So you're going to be able to interact with a lot of those artists. They're going to be able to hear you play. You're going to be able to connect more with the people who are on the level that you want to be at. And I think that's a really big opportunity. I think that's the biggest opportunity for you. Get your music in their hands, get to know them a little bit, so that when you are creating your original music, you have a growing list of artists that you can get feedback and send to test. So yeah, I think there's a great opportunity there, man. I'm excited for you because it's a big change and something different and exciting. And we know you're going to be back here too. So
I think I think for the summer, I'll probably be back at least once to 2 times a month anyway for gigs or something. So
you'll be a hell of a lot closer than I am. So trust me, once a month ain't bad.
Yeah, we talked to Alex Dynamics about like moving and entering into a new market and the pros and cons. And I think, he kind of laid out all the opportunity that's really there. So
yeah, I'm excited. It's gonna be fun. So come visit me if you're out there.
We'll all come visit you. Don't worry.
All right, Angelo the Kid, thank you for jumping on with us. Our collaborator, no longer guest contributor.
Thank you guys, appreciate it.
So we're gonna jump on with Ferrari here in the next little bit. So thank you guys for rocking out with us for this first half of this episode, and we'll be back shortly.
I'll talk to you in a little bit, guys.
See you guys. Thank you.
Peace. Thanks for listening to the Get Down podcast. If you enjoy our show and find the topics entertaining or helpful in any way, we would greatly appreciate if you could subscribe, rate, and review our podcast wherever you listen to it. We want to help more DJs, and subscribing, rating, and reviewing the show is the best way for us to do that. We appreciate all the love so far. Thanks for listening, guys.